Hello, hello. I'm just waiting for my co-host to hop on real quick. You know what? Let me resend her the link. Let's do that really quickly. And maybe she's not the right spot here. It's our second show. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's see. All right, you guys, bear with me. Just waiting for my co-host to hop on. There she is. Hi, there you are.
I need to my profile picture. I'm like, that's an old one.
I know, that's what happened to me too. So, okay. Yeah, let me make sure you are a host without messing things up. And can you hear that ding when I get these notifications?
Yeah, I heard it. It was very light. It's not.
Oh, wait, what did I do?
I hope I shared the right
link. So I was wondering.
It wasn't working.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, it was, but it was weird.
So are you, let me see. I'm pretty sure. Oh, there we go. Okay, make this person a co-host, and you should be a co-host now.
Okay.
Okay, and I didn't block you this time, so I know it's like,
yeah, that's perfect.
Good. Okay, yay! Well, yeah, it was weird because when I pulled this link, it has these weird little numbers on the end, so maybe that's it. Well, let's send this out to some people real quick.
Okay.
Starting now.
What is it? I'm just still learning BLAB. I'm like, what does that button do? You can share the last 30 seconds. Oh, maybe that's what oh.
I know, right?
I think I just shared, or never mind. So where's the code to share the BLAB?
Just copy and link it.
Is it in the top corner where it only says share the last 30 seconds though? Oh, maybe not.
We are live. I can hear myself talking, I think, on your computer though, on your end.
I don't know how to fix that.
All right, you know that link I sent you?
Uh-huh.
Let me quit my iMessage. I think that's what's interrupting. Anyway, but we have one more person on. Hi, who just joined us? Shiraj, I think I'm saying that right, but if you want, you can share this with your friends. We are two beauties talking business, and it's our second show, so we're still getting some of the kinks out. So I'm just going to share this on my page real quick. Drea,
yes.
You could also share what I just shared.
I shared on Facebook, but I haven't shared on Twitter. Oh, I think it does just send that one.
Well, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll throw one out on Twitter. Okay. You guys are lovely. I'm listening. You have good points, definitely, for sticking around and listening. And we are going to get to it in 1 second. Let's just throw a link out to Twitter real quick. That's a great idea. Also, Dre, I'm gonna put one in our stylist group because I think some of, huh?
I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh my goodness. My computer's doing something funny. Okay, there we go.
Let's go, Twitter, and then let's get going. Okay, tweet it out, and then it's for real. For real.
I'm so bad at Twitter. How do you even do anything?
I'll teach you. We'll do a show about it sometime, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris. Okay, thank you. He's like, it's time to start the show, and why BLAB? He's like, I'm ready. Let's go, ladies. So anyway, really quick to introduce ourselves.
Oh, that's a good question.
It is a good question. It's a great question. I think I'm going to take these bracelets off, though, because they're jingly. So let me just move those. So anyway, my name is Jenny, and you can find me all over the interwebs at Jenny A. Hansen. And Andrea and I are both beauty professionals, and we are hosting and co-hosting this BLAB show called Two Beauties Talking Business. I'm the creator and founder of a company called Create Beverages, and I consider myself a millennial entrepreneur, and now I just want to pay it forward and teach others how to take a business from concept to fruition. So that's what we're doing here. But we also go a little bit deeper than that and get into some of the fears and some of the anxieties and some of the limiting beliefs that come up with it as well. So we're a little bit sneaky that way. Do you want to introduce yourself, Drea?
Yes, thank you. I am Andrea Pettingill, creator of shinewithdrea.com. I am a nail artist and a Beauty of You mentor. So I help creative entrepreneurs find balance in their life and find that kind of like customizing that the systems and the order that you can create in your life so that you can have the business and the life that is specifically what you're trying to create and that will help you the most. There's so many tools, modalities, and advice out there, but I like to customize for my clients what is going to help them get their goals.
Yes.
So I've been in the salon industry for 10 plus years.
I know. I thought, well, say 10 plus.
I know 10 plus because
then you start to feel old.
I know. Just put plus and then you're all good.
Right.
Then when you hit 20, you can say 20 plus.
There you go.
You're how long?
12.
You're 12. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I really like I really feel for the salon industry as creative professional because I've gone through a lot of the different struggles and challenges that come up with having a clientele, with putting your creativity out there, with deciding to charge for that when it's such a heartfelt thing, you know, as far as that goes. I'm excited for our topic today because
it's a juicy
as
one.
Creative, it's so juicy. I love it. I love it because as creatives, we get really into our work and doing what we're really good at creating. And then there's this other part that's missing as far as boundaries and creating disciplines that sometimes it's hard as a creative to like go there. Like Jenny and I call it like the left brain stuff. Right.
Which is where I come in. That's where the analytical part of Jenny comes in.
Yeah. And we get to pull those strengths because we all have that. We all have that side of us, but we get to recognize those strengths.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're really excited for today. And so we'll get into our topics. We have seats locked right now. So at the end of what we're talking about, you guys can hop on live and you can ask your questions. So but anyway, good. Yeah, you did a great introduction. Thank you, Chris. So, or is it, how do you say your name? Is it, let's see, Shiraj? Jay, do you know? I don't want to mispronounce your name. I always feel so bad.
Yeah, tell us your first name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
China and Rags. Chirags. Chirags. I think, yes, okay, yes.
Cool.
Yay. So we are still a little bit new here. This is our second blab. We're getting the hang of it. We're getting used to it. It's going pretty well. We're excited about it. But if you missed last week's topic, or if you want to get on the list and make sure you don't miss any future episodes, you can go to our website, and I'm just going to throw that up right here, which is beautiestalkingbusiness.com. And it has replays of our show and things like that. So, and he's saying it's acquiring customers and exporting for industrial raw materials. That's a big one. That's some serious responsibility right there, and really frustrating. I definitely understand that one. So I need to get, okay.
Sit on a pillow.
That's a good idea. Maybe. There we go. We'll sit on a pillow.
So
Thank you. Is that a little bit better? Okay. So really quick, so today what we're going to talk about is 10 different ways, the top 10 ways in making decisions when it comes to business. So what we like to do, our format here is go back and forth. So Jared will throw out a topic, we'll discuss it, I'll throw out a topic, and we go from there. So would you like to start, Drea, or do you want me to start?
Sure. Do you want me to start?
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at my stuff and see which one is
what you're feeling.
Okay. The number, and now I'm like, So
while you're looking, should I answer the question about why we use BLAB? So yeah. BLAB it's a really good platform for business, especially if you're first starting, because if you're a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, he talks about this a lot, but anytime that there's a new platform coming out, people are paying more attention to it. And so it's a lot easier to acquire new customers and get some new customers when you are when you're on a platform that people are excited about, and they're hearing about it, so they're checking it out, they're paying attention to it. And it's the same thing with Periscope right now, which Dre and I both are on Periscope, and all of that's on our website too. And the Beauty's Talking Business, you can go to meet us, and it takes you to our individual links and shows us what we're doing and where we're at in our social media. So, but what I love about BLAB is that it's like a podcast, but live, with live video. Yeah. And so it's very authentic. I love the authenticity. Oops, sorry, I just hit the table. I love the authenticity around it, because you can't hide behind just fancy copy. You really are putting your face out there, and you're putting yourself out there. And I think that people can sense that. They can really feel and say, okay, this is the real deal or not, And also that people can call in, and the connections, it's amazing.
Actually have conversation.
It is. Yeah, I love it. So what's your topic, Drea? Let's get into it.
So this first one, I want to just send love to one of my mentors I had once who took me through this process. I was going through a time of this is just a creative entrepreneur thing that we do, right? We have lots of ideas.
Yes.
Have you ever had so many bright and shiny ideas where it's just oh, I could create this and this and this and this and this, and there's so many things. So I just want to share this tool because I believe it would help someone else out there, creating momentum and moving forward towards a decision. Because we all know if we focus on something, we can create massive depth there and really get into creating something. But if we have so many, we're spread out too thin, then it doesn't work as well. So I was doing this, and I went to one of my mentors, and I was like, this is my problem. And so they had me go through this process of putting each thing up against each other.
Ooh.
So if I had 10 things, I took the first one and I brought it down the list between each one. So I took number 1 next to number 2, and I said, if I could only have one in my entire life, would I choose 1 or 2?
That's good.
And so that makes it so easy to decide between. You're like, well, obviously I would never give this up. So you pick, maybe you stick with 1. So then you take it to number 3. You say, if I could only choose 1, would I choose 1 or 2? And it takes a while to do that with every single thing. You want to hit on every point, and then do it again and again until you narrow. And it it makes your brain go, wow, like I can really see what is really important to me. So this first tip is more like recognizing your priorities, like what really matters, but doing it in that sort of a way of like butting it up against like, and being like, this is it. You cannot have both, like just to help your mind like really wrap around that. You cannot have both. Put it up against, and you can go ahead.
Ooh, no, that's great. I was just saying that's amazing. I'm actually taking notes because I've never tried that one before.
It's so helpful. Oh my goodness. I have my thing that she gave me like right in front of me because it helps me remember my priorities and helps me remember that process that we went through so that I can be like, oh, that's right. Like those are my main ones that like I have to like, it's kind of that thing where like, if I don't do this, I will be so upset with myself, right?
Uh-huh. Ooh, that's actually a really good idea.
Oh, so number one, will you write? I'll write while you talk and you write while I talk.
Okay, but then I also don't want like a disconnect, like to feel like we're not listening to each other. Maybe, you know, actually, we could do like at the end of the show, maybe we could type up the bullet points, and when we throw them up on YouTube, we can have them in the description on YouTube. Yeah. He's like, not now. He's like, I'm like, take notes. We're taking notes. We can try our best. We'll do our best. We got it. And then we'll pivot it for later shows. That's a good idea. Yeah. We'll definitely, I like that. Yeah. So thank you. So that's really good. Also, my number one when it comes to making a decision, and as much as this sounds crazy, but I think with a lot of millennials and that generation, and millennials fall anywhere between, if you're born, I think 1980 to like 2000, I think is what is considered millennial. I feel like that we use a lot of our intuitive, you're born in 91. Well, that's all right. You're there. He's like a millennial. So I think that we can intuitively sense a lot of what's going around us a lot more than generations before us. I really feel like that. I feel like that there is a very fine balance of logical and intuition. And I think that we have a lot of cues inside us of what is intuitively going to work for us or not. Because if we are not passionate about something that we are doing or a choice that we're trying to make, what's going to happen is we end up saying yes, or we're trying to people please, or we're trying to, you know, just make it work. And we're like, yes, 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 yes. And then we drive ourselves crazy and we just feel completely drained and exhausted. And then whatever we're trying to do, I think just falls apart. And so having that decision and that moment of, is this something I'm truly passionate about? Is this something that I truly can push through a lot of the resistance that's going to come up? Because resistance does come up constantly, and you have to really love it. So I just take a moment with any decision, as like big or small as it is, and intuitively check it and say, okay, like I go inward and I think, and I just feel it out. Like I visualize and I picture myself, if I choose yes on this choice, kind of feel and picture how that's going to feel and look like for me. And then also if I go the other way and I choose and saying no on something, how that intuitively is going to look like and feel for me. And I just try to feel what lights me up a little bit more and where I'm more pulled to. And even if like my head kind of goes against it, then I'll say, okay, but like somewhere in my soul, I'm going this different direction. And so I trust that. I trust my intuitive gut a lot in business. And it's actually been very helpful. So that is one of mine. And
awesome. I think that like hit on so many different things that I was like, that is so important to consider all those things when you're thinking about it. Like, because it's like, not only are you saying, intuition, or I should hit enter. I was writing passion. So, like if you're like, first of all, making sure it's a passion. Second of all, visualizing. Like, so that's a tool in and of itself, is like to step into that visualization of, are you seeing it through to the end on the positive, like you chose the decision, and all the way to the negative, like you decided not to go to that decision. That's awesome.
So what's your next one?
Okay. So my next one is, okay, you're up against like a decision, which is usually a new path in your life, right? And so when you are about to make this new decision, my next tip is that you look at it and ask yourself, what would the old me do? Because we know the saying that says, if you want to be or do anything different, you got to act. What am I trying to say? So if you want to be different, you got to act different. If you want new results in your life, you got to do different behaviors and make different decisions in your life, right? So basically, I look at it and ask myself, what would old Andrea do in this situation? Like, she would probably play it safe, and she would do this. Now I ask myself, okay, that's kind of obvious. So what would the higher self, like Andrea, do? Yeah. What would my higher self do? Like, she would be like, let's go for it, you know, depending on the decision. Right. And so usually you're like listening into, is this, I might be going into one of my next.
I know, I was trying not to do that.
Maybe not, I know. So it's like, the old self is usually stuck in fear about something, and the new self is usually like in expansion and possibility.
Ooh, that's a perfect segue into my next one, expansion. Okay, so with that's another thing. And Marie Forleo, she has an amazing blog, and I love following her. And I've done her B School program, and anyway, she talks a lot about the feeling expansive and also feeling restricted. So again, I'm going back into a feeling, right? We'll get to the logical stuff later, but right now I'm going into the feeling of it. So one thing that I can pay attention to it within myself, but before I would kind of have to reach out to a friend or a family member or somebody that I really trusted, and I would talk to them about what I was thinking, and their job was just to pay attention to my body language, why I spoke about it. So, and I'll do this with other people too, and you could probably do this with your clients too, Drea, is if they're talking about, oh, maybe I'm thinking about doing this, and I don't know, and it's kind of, and you know, I'm kind of scared, or you know, this would make sense, and their body language is like that. Or if they're more, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I have this great idea, and they get bigger and they get expansive physically and energetically, that's a really good sign that your body's giving you this cue of, are you going to be feeling restricted or feeling expansive in your choice? Because if you get into a decision or make a decision or choice where you feel trapped or caged, eventually that's going to wear you down, and then it'll just be a big waste of time later, because you'll come back and say like, oh, dang it, why didn't I why didn't I just listen to myself there? So that's my other one is, what is that? Are we on 4? So expansive.
I think that's your second one.
Oh, my second one, yes. Sorry, I'm putting ours together. Fourth all together.
You're right. I don't know. How do we want to number this?
Constructive. I don't know if I spelled that right.
I love that.
So your next one, girl.
Okay. So my next one is.
I'm gonna give you some props here.
I keep forgetting to do that for you.
If you like what we're saying, you can give us little props. It's like little hearts or stars or likes. I want to get a build. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to. This kind of has to do with the last one I had, but I really think I want to cover it because I love
go deeper into it.
Acronym.
Okay.
So this is like an acronym I want to share, and it's YES. So your experience shifts. So when you say yes to something, I think I learned this from, I read this book by, oh my gosh, what's her name? She did this reality show. Bethany.
Yes. Bethany Frankel.
You know
oh my gosh. Of course, I'm a reality show junkie.
What's her last name?
Frankel.
Bethany Frankel. So her book, like I feel like I heard this from her book. I think so. But one of her keys in her book is to saying yes, because your experience shifts, right? So like I talked about before, if you're listening to fear, you're like, well, I don't want to do it. But if you're listening to growth and expansion, the yes will always teach you something. Saying yes will always teach you something, and there will always be growth.
Yeah, can you go deeper into that? Because that's actually really interesting to me, about how saying yes can always teach you something.
Saying yes can always teach you something. So a lot of times we get distracted by like, but it didn't work, but I messed it up. Like, how was that a good thing that I said yes to that? Like, but the key is that there was a lesson we took away from it, because now we know more clearly what we don't want to do. Now we know more clearly what people we don't want to associate with. Now we know more clearly what opportunities and what boundaries we now need to put up. If you look at life as like a big experiment, a big project of like, oh, I get to experiment, learn, and grow, instead of like, there's a right and wrong that has to happen. There's more freedom in every decision you make. It's like, this is an experiment. Like this I get to like, to find out where my limiting beliefs are, what's hard for me to accomplish in my life. Because if there's any level of difficulty, you know that there's work that needs to be done on your inner work, as far as like whether you think you are worthy of that kind of success, like that's a mind game. Whether you think you're worthy of that kind of support, that's a limiting belief about the people you surround yourself with, right? And so when we look at everything that we do as an opportunity for growth and as an opportunity for learning experiences, like that creates so much more freedom, and your experience will shift.
I love that. So with the acronym, what was the YES again? Your
experience shifts. So as opposed to saying no.
I love that.
So if you're saying no to something, then life stays the same. Nothing is different. Like there's just this like flatlining, but you might be able to take a step up a level if you say yes to something. Like no is always
a no.
Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Nothing changes in your life.
Yeah. And I'm going to mess this up again. Chirag. I think I said it right. He would like to ask a question before we get on to the next point. Absolutely. You can either, type it in. My husband's like, if I'm telling him stuff, he's like, wait, I gotta say something before I forget, because I'll forget.
I get excited about it, and I'm like, want to go on to the next. So we'll
give it a minute. Take your time. Actually, while he's doing that, I'll pull up my notes. How can I overcome and approach anxiety while cold calling a potential client?
I love this question.
I do too. Okay, go for it, Drea. Go for it.
I was just gonna say.
Oh, you want me to go? Because there's okay. Okay. You want?
Okay, you go first. No,
I got it. Okay, so the only way to really get over it is to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it over and over and over again. It's almost like desensitization, right? And I'm getting a little bit of a feedback, I think. Is it my audio or yours? I don't know. I can hear myself talking. But it's almost like a way of desensitizing yourself. So first of all, I think if you start out with some of the fundamental basics, like with a little script, that is something that will help you, have something to follow if you're like shaking and scared and just really anxious. But then the more you say it, the more you're going to get comfortable with it. And then just keep just doing it and pushing yourself to do it and push yourself to do it. Dre and I, we were so scared to start the show, but we did it anyway. We're we scheduled it. We're doing it. We made the choice. We did it. And it was like not, it was a disaster the first like 10 minutes of our first show, but we had a lot of engagement, a lot of people, and it worked out great, right? So it's kind of, I think, kind of like that too. You know, you just have to just keep going and going, and eventually it'll get easier and easier and easier. But you also have to be okay with not being okay all the time. And I say this a lot, and I didn't notice how much I say this, but I really say this a lot, is that cold calling and putting yourself out there, it's a scary thing, and it's okay to feel that fear. And if you can, the more you practice it, you can start to shift that fear and use it into a type of fuel. Instead of saying, I'm scared, do some reprogram of, I'm excited, you know, I'm excited. This isn't fear, this is excitement. And then we can also even go a little bit deeper about what is so scary about it. You know, what's the worst thing that could happen? They say no. They hang up. They say something mean and hang up, someone you've never met, you know? So that's just my 2 cents on that. Hopefully that's helpful.
Oh, I had something. What was that last point? You said 2 things just now, and then I had something that I wanted to say.
About doing it anyway to desensitize, to take the power out of it, to use that fear and change that into a form of excitement and passion.
Yes,
okay.
So they literally have done studies that show that the chemical reaction that happens in your body when you're afraid and you're excited is the same one.
Never heard that. That's great.
You have never heard that before? So it's awesome. It like literally is teaching us that we get to choose which one we believe. So our body has a chemical reaction when we experience fear. Like there's a chemical that courses through our body. Like we feel it, like that adrenaline, right? But it's actually the same chemical reaction, the same chemical flowing through your body as when we are excited about something. So knowing that science behind it, we go, oh my gosh, I'm feeling it. And that anxiety can create you to spiral down into anxiety, into fear, or it can create momentum and give you the motivation to successfully achieve what you want to achieve. So as you can use a couple of tools. Deep breathing helps you to get out of anxiety. So when I say deep breathing, that's like the yogic breath where your belly goes out when you breathe in.
Yeah, belly breathing. Yes. And do you guys know what that belly breathing is? Should maybe we tell them a little bit about the belly breathing and why? Do you care if I do that real quick? So with belly, I know you can't see my belly, but with belly breathing, and hello for the new people. Hi, Brett. So you want to actually visualize like you're trying to push your belly button out, like, and then breathe that breath out as far as you can with your stomach, and then in, and you kind of, I know this is a little bit different. This is some Qigong actually, and breathe it like in, like up around like your perineum, and then like push out. And that gives you more deeper oxygen into your body, and it helps to slow that down, because when we're anxious and we're in fight or flight, we do a lot of upper chest breathing. So we're like, and then it just makes us worse because we're like in that you know, fight or flight state. So going into your belly and pushing it out.
You're telling your body, I am good. I got this. I'm safe. Yeah.
That's actually a good affirmation too with anxiety is, you know, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I received this experience. Things like that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up affirmations because my answer to Chirag's question, for those of you who just joined, we're talking about a few of our main points on how to make difficult decisions, and we're just kind of taking a side break because we had a great question about how can I overcome anxiety while I'm cold calling, because we're talking about your experience shifting when you say yes to opportunities, like if you say yes to making a bunch of new phone calls, or you say yes to starting a new business where you're reaching out to people. So my answer to Chirag's question was when we are facing anxiety, or like we have that coming up for us as we're trying to reach out to people, there's a couple things that it could be. And my question is like, is it fear of rejection?
Yes, he said that.
Is that what it is? Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, well, it has something to do with avoiding rejection, the fear of it, but I do believe in. Okay, cool. So when we have fear of rejection come up for us, let's see how deep I want to go.
Go, girl, go. That's what we do.
I have a tool that I take my mentoring clients through that's a little bit deeper, but I'm going to touch on some of that. Is that when we have fear of rejection come up, a lot of times it boils down to what we think that means about us. And so I'll ask my clients, what will happen if they reject you? And so you kind of worst case scenario, spiral it down, and then you kind of like look at it and go, like, for example, my business will fail. Like, they won't like my business. My business will fail. I won't be able to put food on the table. Like, you kind of spiral down into that. And you just kind of sit in that place of like loving and accepting all of who you are, no matter what is happening around you. Because if you go back to my first, when I was talking about life is an experiment, a lot of times we get stuck in this has to go perfectly, right or wrong. Like, there's only right and there's wrong. But like, if you look at your business like this is an experiment, like, strip away all the stuff. I love myself no matter what. So this is bringing back in the affirmations that we were talking about, is like, no matter what happens to me in my life, I love and accept all of who I am. And so that kind of creates this, like, they can't reject me because I fully love and accept myself. And so this is just an experiment. This is just an interaction with another person. I'm giving them an opportunity to say yes to something so that their experience can shift. And so with that, you remember a new affirmation, which is I bring massive value to people, and people want my services. People want to say yes to what I offer because it's helping them grow. So as you're like looking at, like, ask yourself if it's fear of rejection, and then ask yourself if you believe in what you're offering them enough to like put that energy out there for them to receive and say yes.
That's good. I like that. This actually reminds me of a story with, and now I forgot it. But I thought of this story for a minute where this completely applied, but it's gone. So maybe it'll come back later.
Yeah, fine. Maybe it'll pop up as I answer. Like, he was saying, loving myself is the hardest thing sometimes, but I understand its importance. This is huge. I love. Oh,
I remember my story. Okay.
Oh, okay. Write it down.
She knows me so well. She's like, write it.
So, actually, I wonder, Chirag, if you'd be open to me giving you some homework. Because when this comes up for my clients, I love to offer this homework. Writing down 100 things you love about yourself. That is a homework. And it's something that you might be like, this is so simple. This is so silly. But okay, you said yes.
Dear, I am.
So now that you know what it is, you say yes to that, because it could take a little bit of time. It could take you a couple days or a couple weeks to get 100 things, but it does this amazing thing to your brain when you write all the things out. And don't overthink it. Like, be super simple about it, because if you say, I like that I'm willing to watch a BLAB that could help me advance in my career. I like that I'm the kind of person that is doing my own entrepreneurial business. I like that there's so many simple things it could be to get up to that 100. But as you get into the 40s, you're going to start getting some real cool stuff about yourself. And it's not about what it's about. Yeah. So the tools that I offer, like, it's never about what it's about. It's about what it does for your mind to realize and remember how much of a cool and amazing person that you are.
Yeah. And I think, so this is something too with rejection is a part of life. It's a part of what we do in our experiences, and it's a part of our journey. And this actually goes into my next topic, which is to ask others' opinion for when you're making a decision or a choice. But this can be tricky too, okay? Because sometimes people will give you such conflicting advice. Like, sometimes you have like my husband will have an opinion on with one thing. Drea will have an opinion about something. My sister will, my friends will. So I try to avoid like family because I don't know. Because they don't know the business Jenny, really. You know what I mean? They just kind of know the Jenny. So, but is going online, and some of the like really super strong relationships that I've made with people have been online. So it's like Drea found me on Snapchat, and she reached out to me, and she's like, oh my gosh, like you do what I'm doing, and we get to chatting, and I'm like, that's interesting because I'm shifting right now, and it just like meshed and it worked. And I have another friend, he has a company called Wax Crumbles, and we video chat a lot and just like feedback and throw things off each other. And I have another friend, Danielle Ford, she does a lot with Periscope, but people will like tell me stuff like I don't want to hear. I'm like, like I think I have this amazing thing, and then the real friends that are really real are like, yeah, that's a great idea, but no one really wants to like watch that, or nobody really wants to like do that until you get there later, and or that's not working, you need to pivot, you need to shift. And sometimes you're like, ouch, ooh, that hurts. But it's taking some advice from other people and then kind of filtering through that and being okay with the constructive criticism without losing who you are, and still staying true to yourself. And so, an exercise that I like to do is I will write down, like these are like some choices that I have to make here. And so like to bring it back to business and like the more of the product-based business is kind of, let's see, like with my beverage company, like what manufacturer am I going to use? What supplier am I going to use? And because you want to be very safe when you're getting into like working with ordering raw materials and things like that, you want to find the best deal, but you also want to have a good relationship with those people. So that's a very win-win situation. And so sometimes I'll get kind of confused on who to work with, who to trust, who not to trust, as far as that goes with those moving pieces. This could apply to hiring an employee if you're that far or not, everything like that. And again, write it down and then seek some advice. And usually as you're talking about this decision you're trying to make, the answer will come up. Like you'll end up saying, like you'll end up answering your own question, basically, I think.
Mm-hmm. This brings me to one of my points, and I don't know if it's one of my main points or but one of my next ones was the same kind of thing, trusting yourself. But like what came up as I experienced this week was I had a lot of I had some decisions that needed to be made, and I had a little bit like some fear come up. Obviously, I was not trusting myself. So I put it out there to a bunch of my friends. I sent this message out. And I was like, okay, this is what's going on, you guys. Like, what should I do here? Like, I'm looking for some feedback. And what happened is like I got only a couple of responses, and I was realizing that I was waiting for someone to decide for me and tell me what to do. But in the meantime, I was like, I hope that they say this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then I stopped and I realized, well, then why don't I just like do that? Why don't I just make that decision? Like I'm sitting here waiting for them to say that it's okay for me to do this. I'm like, whoa. Like I take that down. Like I got to trust myself because I know intuitively what the decision is for me, because I know all angles of it that I can't communicate as well in text or even with my words, as far as like what's really going on in my life and what each decision means for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, trusting yourself is like, I've experienced this lesson come up over and over again for me, because it's like everybody else must know, because the limiting belief that says that I'm not smart enough, that I'm not that business savvy to make these kinds of decisions, right? Like that stuff comes up. And so then what I create by listening to that thought is that like I'm scattered and I don't know what to do, so I got to ask someone else's opinion, right? But when I check in and go, okay, I trust myself. I know all the ins and outs of this decision more than anyone else. What do I, so the tool is like, imagine, don't do it. Imagine you ask everybody, what would you want them to say to you?
No, that's good.
Because like, what if they said, don't do this? And you like go to that and go, oh my gosh, like, of course I'm going to do that. That's the one I was hoping you would say that I should do, you know? So that kind of helps.
I like that a lot. Because yeah, again, it goes back to the answer is usually already within you. It's already there somehow, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I think is just like, is fascinating. So now I want to get back to, I think, is this my 5th topic? Are we there already? Ooh,
I have no idea.
So, and you know what I just realized is I forgot to send this show out to my email list.
Yeah, I didn't either. But we can send them the
okay,
replay.
We'll send them the replay because I'm like, shoot. Okay, so it's just really, again, with the power of choice. And before I get into that, I also want to point that in business, you also really do want to be responsible in doing your due diligence with things. That there is, like I said earlier, that balance of intuitively going with what feels right, but also seeking advice from others, and then doing your due diligence in really studying and understanding and knowing that, oh, thank you so much. Let's see, he's got to go. Have a good day. Oh, thank you. And thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it. See you. And I think I followed you. Make sure you're following us. And if you, let's see, before he hops off, you can also get on the list. So we'll send out when we're doing the show. And so you will know. But it's every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then when you're on that, we throw you into our private Facebook group, which is where everyone can be and chat and talk. But anyway, so I really want to get into like the power of choice here. And I feel like that sometimes we get very hung up on that, and Wayne Dyer talks about this, the should, would, could, what was the other one? Should, would, could, have to, must, like all these different, there's like 5 different things, but really the power of choice, and that we have that power of choice, and that this is so huge and so important, because sometimes I think, especially being more of a creative person and more of an introverted person, that we really want to please the people around us. And sometimes it can be really scary and really, really hard and very difficult to kind of stand up for yourself and saying, maybe something worked before that's not going to work again, or learning lessons and not repeating cycles and things like that, and going back and forth that way, But I really feel like sometimes we forget that we really have that power to choose. I think we forget it. At least I know I do sometimes. And really what it comes down to is that, am I going to choose, within business, am I going to, oh, I can't start because X, Y, and Z, or I don't know how to A, B, and C. But again, it's like, no, I have the choice. I'm going to start. I'm going to do it anyway, because I can learn this, because I can ask, because I can seek advice, because I can do this, right? So there's all of these pieces that fall into that. But again, it goes into, I have this power to choose. Am I going to choose to be just at peace with who I am? Am I going to choose to trust in my choices? Do I choose to trust in my ability to choose, and that I'm going to be supported in that choice? And there's a surrendering process that happens here too, of I am supported. And you know, one thing that I'll say if I'm really afraid, and so in my meditations too, I'll say, you know, God in the universe supports me in all that I do. And that was kind of a scary one because it's like, well, who am I? You know, I'm not supporting everything I do. But it's like, no, like I'm supported in all that I do, and just let myself be me and not trying to like please everybody else, and giving myself that power to choose, because no one can make you feel a certain way. No one can make you act a certain way. No one can make you stop doing something or continue with something. That you as an individual are completely free to choose. Like that ability is a gift and a power that should be honored and used in what you're doing every day, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
Hi, Brandon. Brandon joined. Hi, Brandon. We're just about to get to the Q&As.
So the one that I had last on my list kind of touches on the same thing that you were talking about, is to meditate and ask for that guidance, and get still and listen, like bring your question into your meditation and get still and listen for advice. And then when you make your decision, this is something that I love to do. I love to check in with my higher power and decide, okay, this is my decision, and just put it up there for that and go, if I'm not meant to do this, clearly show me and stop me, because I'm moving forward. And when you just go, I'm committed, like decision means like commitment. It comes from the root word like desir, like to cut off. And so that means like, boom, like that means like this is like it, end all, this is what's happening, I'm moving forward. And so when you make the decision and you put it out there, like in your meditation or your higher power, whatever process you like to do, or to your higher self, and say, if I'm not meant to do this, if this doesn't align with my highest goal and my my end goal, my highest good, like please stop me and show me in a clear way. Yes. Like you can be direct in your questions, like clearly
ask for gently
that this is not meant to be.
I'll ask clearly and gently.
Clearly and gently. Perfect.
No, that's so good. Yes.
Checking with that guidance, like, and trusting. It goes back to the faith piece about like moving forward with that faith, and that, you know, that you will be guided, and that will be shown if it's not meant to be, and then you know, oh, I'm good. I'm just gonna
keep going and trusting yourself. Again, all coming back to trusting yourself. And then also, I feel like that again, and this is a lesson I had to learn the hard way, and I think it's not ironic at all that Brandon's jumping on right now, because he's the one who taught me this lesson. But that if something isn't working, to be able to like quickly identify it and see it, and then pivot, and to try something else, or to word something differently. Like you can still do the same thing, but to work around it and to work around what it is, and to not be so stuck and in that inability of, okay, well, this is what I'm doing, but to still be open to moving around and flowing and saying like, okay, we're going to try this way and that way and that way, and to see what works.
It's like a flexibility,
but a commitment.
Committed flexibility.
And how many things open up when you make the decision? Like when you have that choice and you're like, you know what, like when we were going to start the show, it's like, yes, oh, Brandon, don't get emotionally attached. Most things are attached to you. It's so powerful and so true. And that's exactly what he's always telling me. He's like, don't get too emotionally attached. And so, because I would get so attached to like my product and not so much my mission, and I needed to be more attached to my mission than the actual physical product. You know what I mean? But there's this power when you make that choice and that commitment of moving forward. You know, like when you and I were talking about doing the show, I had this massive, clear, pivotal moment that was like, what did you ask me? You asked me something like, Jenny, should we just talk next week? And doing like a regular thing. Yeah. And old Jenny would be like, yeah, because I need time to process it and like fill it out and all this. But it already was feeling so right that I was like, no, let's start. Like, let's do it next week. Let's start. Let's do it. And as soon as like that choice was made, it was like, no, okay, we're doing this. And so, and I didn't want to let you down. I didn't want to let like people down that were watching. And now like all this great feedback's coming in and I'm like, yay, we're just going to keep going and let it be what it is. Show up.
I know. I had something come to mind while you were talking. And I think, I can't remember how it relates, but it totally does. But like when you have a decision, going to both light and dark of it is like huge. Oh, it has to do with how you and Brandon were bringing up. Don't get emotionally attached to things that you are, you know, deciding between or whatever. So it was taught to me this way. Okay. That the higher thought process is to be totally okay with being completely rich and be totally okay at the same time with being completely broke. Like,
no.
Can you go there in your mind, in your process? Because there's freedom in that. There's freedom in being like, I'm okay with myself. Like if you really visualize, I'm okay with myself up here and being rich and having like so much abundance, but I'm also okay with myself and who I am if I'm totally broke. And that takes that emotional, like, no, I cannot be poor, because what you're doing is you're putting too much attention into being poor and too much emotion, or negative or positive, you know, it's going in, it's going to create that. So when you have this decision, like relating it to a choice in your business, like, oh, should I relocate my business to this town or this town? Go to both and totally feel them out. Like Jenny, you brought this up before, but like completely visualizing, can I be totally okay over here and totally okay over here? Like really feel that out.
Yeah.
Take the emotion out of it and then decide from a neutral place of what creates my highest good.
Yeah. And that's interesting too, because I feel like in business too, and in life, we go very much into like our highest, greatest good. And then we can also go really deep into our shadow. And I think a lot of people, they completely they'll neglect one or the other. So, and I think people are afraid to understand the shadow part of themselves because there's such a negative thing about it. It's not necessarily bad, but it's just two extremes of where you are, and then really figuring out, again, like that balance of, you know, here, this is like all the my hopes and my dreams, and then this is like the worst case scenario, your greatest dreams, your greatest fears, and then figuring out where you fall into that. But also, I think really the most power that comes in any business and any type of decision making and any choice that you make is, again, filling it out, making that choice and committing to it, going for it, letting it evolve into what it's evolving into, and then assessing it and either pivoting around it and trying something different, or moving in a completely different direction. But no clear answer is going to truly, truly come until you do it. So even if like intuitively you're like, yeah, this feels right. Okay, I've made my list, like Drea brought up. These are my priorities. This is what's important to me. These people are integrally in line with like who I want to work with as far as like with the resourcing and or retailers or things, anything, it depends on your business or galleries, whatever that is for you. And then just do it. Just start, just do it. And then that journey will bring you a lot of clarity as you start moving forward. So yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah. Awesome.
And look, we're even like kind of on time. Well, does anyone want to jump on, and should we open it up to some questions if anyone wants to hop on and ask questions? Brandon's the only one right now. See, and that's one thing, like our last blab we had, I mean, we'll, like I said, we'll email it out to our list for the replay, but our last blab, we had like 50 people on or something crazy. I was like, what? That was our very first. That was so fun.
But we also shared it a little bit more. Or maybe we didn't. I think we did share it this time just the same.
Yeah.
But
except they didn't email.
But anyway.
That dang email. But I don't know. But yeah, Brandon, do you have anything to add for the replay? He's thinking about it. It's like, I don't know.
If not, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, he's probably working too. He's probably busy. I love that you just like hopped on anyway. But he's like, nope, working. I knew it. I'm like, he is probably busy right now, just working. But I love that you hopped on and listened. Thank you, Brandon. And yeah, that was really great. Thank you so much, Drea. I love you. I love like your energy. I love working with you. It's so much fun. And I'm going to throw the website up here again. Do you have any like closing points or anything?
Well, one point I never got to say was checking in with your values and your goals and the direction that you want to go. Because a lot of times as we're making decisions, we get stuck in the now stuff and we don't remember the end goal of where this decision is supposed to lead us towards. So that was just my last point in closing. Like, I just wanted to help us remember what's your big goal and make sure the decision leads you closer.
Keep that in mind. That's really good.
You?
I think, yeah, just everything we covered, I think was just so intense and juicy. And I really hope that on the replay, people will like take some notes and really look at it, because we threw in some energetic, we threw in some spiritual, we threw in some physical with a dash of some logical. So
I was thinking we could do like a total recap, but there was one that I didn't have written down that I just kind of
go for it. Yeah, we still have a little bit of time. Do it.
So in recapping everything we talked about, so my first one was, if you could only have one, which one would you choose? So butting them up against that test of like, which choice, if you have like 10 things you're deciding between, take each one against the other and decide which one would be the one that you could not, like, you can only choose that one for the rest of your life. Like, that's a decision you have to make. So it helps you to kind of just test them all and narrow it down to like, what are you really passionate about? And then my next one was saying yes, because your experience shifts. Saying yes to opportunity opens up a new level of growth, where saying no will always make it stagnant, stay the same. Like, nothing changes when you say no to an opportunity. So my other one was asking what the old self of your old self would do and what your higher self would do in this moment, because if you want something different in your life, you got to do something different and behave differently. That means making different choices. So asking yourself, what would your old self do? And ask yourself, is that what I want to create? So my last one was meditate for guidance. Listen to your intuition and that gut feeling, because it's usually leading you the right way, and practice meditation so that you get used to what that feels like in your life as far as being guided. And then my side point to that one was to decide that you are making this decision, and ask that if it's not the right decision for you, that you'll be guided clearly to go a different way. And then the last one I just said was to make sure it aligns with your end goal and your end values and what you want to create.
So good.
So
love it.
That's my recap.
Your recap. I forget mine. let me go with my notes.
I wrote one.
No, mine.
Your first one.
Yeah, mine's not in order, but really seeing what you're passionate about and what excites you, and not trying to people please, was my first one. Really making sure and seeing what is expansive for you and what feels restrictive. I think as creatives, millennials, that's something that if we're too restricted, it's like you'll drown in it. You know what I mean? Eventually. So make sure it's something that you feel very expansive about, because that passion and that energy is going to take you the long way. Like, that's going to get you through the hard times that come up and that do come up, is knowing that this is like my purpose. I have to do this, right? So trusting your intuition, seeing what's expansive for you, reaching out and getting feedback from others, also, and I don't know if this is in order because my notes are like so scattered. Um, oh, making sure that it logically makes sense too, and then also the people that you're choosing to work with, that they're like integrally in line with what you're doing, whoever that is, that's something. Hi, Gary. We're just about to wrap up, but if you have a question, go for it. And then also not disregarding your power of choice. And he's like, no questions. Hi, that's okay. So also really listening and respecting that you have that power of choice over you, and that all we really have control of is just us and our little selves, and everything that happens around us is just happening around us, and that we do not need to always participate in that. And then that all goes back into your end goal of things, you know? So did I miss one? I think that was pretty much all of them. Oh, and also with being okay with the rejection side of things and handling that, even though it can be a little bit hurtful, but to also not completely dismiss it, because there can be some golden, like, little words of wisdom in there that can be really valuable and really important. So that's it.
Awesome. Well, we will wrap it up.
Yes.
And
we'll call it a show. That's a wrap. But we'll call it a show. I just want to thank everyone who popped in and everyone who showed up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It means the world. Hopefully we're contributing and helping. And also, if you guys want to go to beautiestalkingbusiness.com, we have an email list there. You can pop your email on and we will remind you of just when the show's coming up, and send you out replay links, and that's it. And then it also has some information about Andrea and her business and what she's doing, and me and my business and what I'm doing, and our individual links, if you're more guided to more of your coaching, more of what you're doing, and more of the entrepreneurial side of what I'm doing. And I'm actually, I don't know, I've been kind of documenting like this whole journey on adding to the company, and I'm so excited for when that comes out, because that's crazy. So come check us out and see what we're up to. So thank you so much, and thank you, Drea. I know. All right. So good night, or good night, good day. I don't even know. Have an amazing productive day. And we'll see you next week, every Monday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're here. So, all right. Bye, guys. Do my stuff.